If you're over 50 and you've been dealing with erections that aren't as firm as they used to be, if you're losing your erection during sex, or if you're just not getting the hardness you want, you need to understand something that most doctors won't tell you. This isn't just about testosterone, it's not just about blood flow, and throwing pills at the problem is only addressing part of the issue. There's a critical piece of the puzzle that almost everyone ignores, and that's your pelvic floor muscles. And I'm Dr. Melinda Wright. I'm a urologist with over a decade of experience, and I'm going to show you 5 specific exercises that can restore firm erections, improve your control, and even help with bladder function. No equipment needed, nothing fancy, just your body and about 10 minutes a day. Here's what most men don't realize. Getting blood into your penis is only half the battle. The real issue for most men over 50 is keeping that blood trapped inside long enough to maintain a firm erection. Your penis has these chambers called the corpora cavernosa that fill with blood when you're aroused. But for that erection to stay hard, you need to compress the veins that would normally drain blood away. And that compression happens through a coordinated effort of your pelvic floor muscles. These muscles act like an internal ring or valve that locks blood in place. When those muscles are weak or uncoordinated, blood leaks back out, your erection softens, and you lose it entirely. This is called venous leak, and it's incredibly common in men over 50. But here's the good news. These are muscles, and muscles can be trained. Just like you can strengthen your biceps or your chest, you can strengthen and retrain your pelvic floor. And when you do that correctly with the right exercises, you can dramatically improve your ability to achieve and maintain firm erections. Now, I'm going to walk you through 5 specific movements that target different aspects of pelvic floor function. These aren't random exercises I pulled from the internet. This is a progressive training program based on how these muscles actually work, how they coordinate with other muscle groups, and what's required to restore optimal function. Each exercise builds on the previous one, and together they create a comprehensive routine that addresses strength, endurance, coordination, and flexibility. Let's start with the foundation. The first exercise is the pelvic tilt with pelvic floor co-contraction. This might sound complicated, but it's actually very simple, and it's critical for building the mind-muscle connection you need. Lie on your back on a mat or carpet. Bend your knees to about 45 degrees and place your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. Your arms should be down at your sides, relaxed. Now, I want you to focus on your lower abdominals, that area below your belly button. Tighten those muscles and use them to press your lower back flat against the floor. As you do this, your pelvis will tilt upward slightly. This is the pelvic tilt portion. But here's where it gets specific. As you're tilting your pelvis and pressing your back to the floor, I also want you to contract your pelvic floor muscles. These are the muscles you'd use to stop urinating midstream or to prevent passing gas. Draw them up and in, like you're pulling them toward your belly button from below. Hold this combined contraction, the lower abs and the pelvic floor together, for 3 to 5 seconds. Breathe through your nose while you're holding. Don't hold your breath. Then release with control and let everything relax for a moment before you repeat. This exercise is teaching your nervous system to activate your pelvic floor in coordination with your core stabilizers. That coordination is essential for firm erections because your pelvic floor doesn't work in isolation. It works as part of an integrated system with your abdominals, your diaphragm, and your back muscles. When you train them together, you get much better results than if you just do isolated Kegels. Start with 10 to 15 repetitions. Focus on quality over quantity. You want to feel a distinct contraction and a complete relaxation between reps. As you get stronger over a week or two, work up to 20 to 25 reps. This should take you about 3 to 4 minutes total. The second exercise is the prone stretch with pelvic floor activation. This one addresses flexibility and endurance, and it builds that deep brain to pelvic floor connection that a lot of men have lost over the years. Lie face down on the floor. Bring your forearms underneath your shoulders so your elbows are bent and your chest is lifted slightly off the ground. Your neck should be in a neutral position, not cranked back. You should feel a gentle stretch through the front of your body and your hip flexors. Now, as you exhale, I want you to draw your belly button in toward your spine and lightly lift your pelvic floor. You're not trying to do a maximum contraction here. This is more about maintaining a light, sustained activation while you hold the stretch position. Hold this for 20 to 30 seconds, breathing normally through your nose. Then relax, rest for a moment, and repeat 3 to 4 times. This exercise does several things. It lengthens the muscles in the front of your hips that are often chronically tight from sitting, which can restrict pelvic circulation. It builds endurance in your pelvic floor muscles by making them hold a contraction for an extended period. And it reinforces that neurological connection between your brain and your pelvic floor, which is critical for conscious control during sexual activity. A lot of guys tell me this is when they first really start to feel those muscles and understand what they're supposed to be doing. That awareness is half the battle. Once you can consciously feel and control these muscles, everything else gets easier. The third exercise is the kneeling abdominal draw with pelvic floor engagement. This is a tabletop position that's going to further integrate your core and pelvic floor while also challenging your stability. Get on all fours with your hands directly under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Keep your spine in a neutral position, not arched, not rounded. Your head should be in line with your spine, eyes looking at the floor about a foot in front of your hands. From this position, exhale and pull your belly button toward your spine, drawing your abdominal wall in as tight as you can. At the same time, contract your pelvic floor muscles, lifting them up toward your rib cage. Hold this combined contraction for 3 to 5 seconds, then release slowly and completely. Don't let your back sag or arch as you release. Maintain that neutral spine position throughout. This exercise activates your transverse abdominis, which is the deepest layer of your abdominal muscles and acts like a natural corset around your midsection. When this muscle works in harmony with your pelvic floor, it creates intra-abdominal pressure that supports your spine, improves your posture, and enhances your ability to control blood flow during an erection. Start with 10 to 15 reps, focusing on slow, controlled movements. As you build strength and endurance, extend the hold time to 5 to 10 seconds and increase your reps to 20. This exercise should take about 3 to 4 minutes. If you're getting value from this, hit that subscribe button because I post detailed videos like this regularly on men's health topics that most doctors don't take the time to explain properly. Drop a like if you're still with me and share this with anyone who needs this information. Now we're moving into the fourth exercise, the bridge with abduction, and this is where things get more challenging because we're integrating multiple muscle groups simultaneously. Lie on your back with your knees bent to about 90 degrees and your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Your arms are down at your sides for support. From this position, press through your heels and lift your hips off the ground until your body forms a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Engage your glutes and your core to hold this bridge position. Now, while you're holding the bridge, push your knees outward away from each other like you're trying to spread the floor apart with your feet. Then bring them back to the starting position. The key here is maintaining your bridge height and your core engagement throughout the movement. Don't let your hips drop or your back arch as you move your knees. This outward movement of the knees activates your hip abductors and further engages your pelvic floor muscles from a different angle. It's also working your glutes hard, and strong glutes are important for pelvic stability and blood flow to the entire region. Start with 8 to 10 repetitions. As you get stronger, work up to 15 to 20 reps, or add a resistance band around your thighs to make it more challenging. Each rep should be slow and controlled. You're not rushing through this. You want to feel every muscle working. This exercise is incredibly effective for building the muscular endurance and coordination you need to maintain firm erections during sex. It's training your body to sustain activation of these muscles under load, which directly translates to better performance when it matters. The fifth and final exercise is the rocking frog stretch, and this one is often the most transformative because it addresses something that all the previous exercises have been building toward, which is releasing chronic tension in your pelvic floor and inner thighs while maintaining that coordinated activation we've been developing. Start on your hands and knees. Spread your knees wide apart into a wide V shape, much wider than hip width. Turn your feet outward so your inner ankles and the insides of your feet are resting on the floor. Now lower down onto your forearms so your chest drops closer to the ground. You should feel a deep stretch through your inner thighs and your groin. From this position, slowly rock your hips forward and back. Move gently and deliberately. As you rock forward, you'll feel the stretch intensify slightly. As you rock back, it'll ease a bit. Breathe deeply through your nose the entire time. With each exhale, try to relax a little deeper into the stretch. Don't force anything. This is about release and relaxation, not pushing through pain. Hold this position with the gentle rocking for 30 to 40 seconds, then come out of it carefully and rest. Repeat this 3 times with short breaks in between. This exercise is critical because a lot of men have chronically tight pelvic floors and inner thighs from years of stress, sitting, poor posture, and lack of targeted stretching. That chronic tension restricts blood flow, it prevents those muscles from contracting fully when they need to, and it creates a baseline level of dysfunction that no amount of strengthening alone will fix. You need both strength and flexibility. You need those muscles to be able to contract powerfully when required and to relax completely when they're not needed. The rocking frog stretch opens up the inner thighs, releases the pelvic floor, improves circulation to the entire region, and when combined with the previous 4 exercises, creates the perfect balance of strength, endurance, coordination, and flexibility that your body needs for optimal sexual function. Now let's talk about implementation, because having the exercises is one thing, but actually doing them consistently and correctly is what gets results. I recommend doing this entire routine once a day, every day, for at least 8 to 12 weeks. The whole thing should take you about 10 minutes, maybe 15 when you're first learning the movements. Pick a time that works for you and stick to it. A lot of guys prefer doing this in the morning before their day gets chaotic, or in the evening as part of winding down. Consistency is more important than the specific time of day. When you first start, you might not feel much. Your mind-muscle connection is probably weak, and these muscles might not respond the way you expect. That's completely normal. Keep going. Within a week or 2, you'll start to feel those muscles more clearly. You'll start to understand what a proper contraction feels like versus just tensing your abs or your glutes. Within 3 to 4 weeks, most men start noticing subtle improvements. Maybe your morning erections come back or get firmer. Maybe you notice better control during sex. Maybe you just feel more awareness and sensation in that area. Those are all good signs that the exercises are working. By 8 to 12 weeks of consistent practice, you should see significant improvements in firmness, control, and staying power. Some men report being able to maintain erections that they couldn't maintain before. Others notice they can achieve full hardness faster. And almost everyone reports better bladder control because these same muscles support urinary function. But here's the key. You have to actually do them. You can't do this routine sporadically and expect results. Your nervous system and your muscles need repeated, consistent stimulus to adapt and improve. 5 minutes here and there won't cut it. Commit to the full 10 minutes every single day for at least 2 months. Put it in your calendar. Set a reminder on your phone. Make it non-negotiable. And as you're doing these exercises, pay attention to your form. It's better to do 10 perfect reps than 30 sloppy ones. With the pelvic tilt, make sure you're actually pressing your back flat and contracting your pelvic floor, not just rocking your hips randomly. With the prone stretch, maintain that light activation throughout the hold. With the bridge abduction, keep your hips level and your core engaged. Quality matters. I also want to talk about what happens if you've been doing Kegels on your own and they haven't worked. A lot of men try isolated Kegel exercises where they're just squeezing and releasing their pelvic floor randomly throughout the day. And while that's better than nothing, it's not nearly as effective as the integrated approach I'm teaching you here. Your pelvic floor doesn't work in isolation. It works as part of a coordinated system with your core, your breathing, your posture. When you train it that way, like we're doing with these 5 exercises, you get much better functional results. The other mistake men make with Kegels is doing them too aggressively or holding their breath while they do them. If you're tensing your entire body, holding your breath, clenching your jaw, you're doing it wrong. These contractions should be focused and controlled with normal breathing throughout. That's why each of these exercises emphasizes breathing through your nose and maintaining relaxation in the rest of your body. Now, let's talk about additional factors that will support your progress. These exercises are incredibly powerful, but they work best when you're also taking care of the basics. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Your blood is mostly water, and proper hydration supports healthy blood flow and tissue function. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water a day. Nutrition matters too. Eat foods that support nitric oxide production, because nitric oxide is what triggers your blood vessels to dilate and allow blood flow to your penis. Leafy greens, beets, pomegranate, watermelon, these are all great. Include healthy fats from sources like fish, avocados, nuts, and olive oil, because your body needs fat to produce testosterone and maintain healthy cell membranes. Manage your stress. Chronic stress is one of the biggest killers of sexual function. When you're stressed, your body is in fight or flight mode, your blood vessels constrict, and your nervous system is not conducive to erections. Find ways to manage stress daily. Deep breathing, meditation, walking, whatever works for you. Get adequate sleep. Your body does most of its healing and hormone production while you sleep. If you're only getting 5 or 6 hours a night, you're sabotaging your recovery and your testosterone production. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. And if you're carrying excess body weight, particularly around your midsection, losing even 10 to 15 pounds can make a significant difference in your erectile function. Excess abdominal fat is metabolically active, and it produces inflammatory compounds that damage your blood vessels and interfere with hormone production. You don't need to be ripped, but getting to a healthier weight will absolutely help. Let me share some real-world examples, because I want you to understand what's possible here. I had a patient, Michael, who came to me at 56 complaining that he couldn't maintain erections during sex. He could get partially hard, but he'd lose it quickly, and it was destroying his confidence and his relationship. I taught him this exact 5-exercise routine and told him to do it daily. 3 weeks in, he reported that his morning erections were back. By 8 weeks, he was able to maintain full erections during sex consistently. He told me it felt like he'd regained something he thought was gone forever. Another patient, David, was dealing with both erectile issues and urinary urgency. He'd wake up multiple times a night to urinate, and during the day, he'd have sudden urges that were hard to control. I walked him through these exercises with an emphasis on the coordination between the pelvic floor and the lower abs. Within a month, his nighttime urination decreased from 4 or 5 times to once or twice. His erectile function improved steadily over the next 2 months. He said he felt more in control of his body than he had in years. These stories aren't exceptions. This is what happens when you address the underlying muscular and neurological components of pelvic floor dysfunction instead of just relying on pills or ignoring the problem. Now, I want to address a common concern. Some guys worry that if they strengthen their pelvic floor too much, it'll become overly tight and cause problems. That's why the 5th exercise, the rocking frog stretch, is so important. You need the balance of strength and flexibility. If you're doing all 5 exercises as I've outlined them, you're getting both. You're building strength and endurance with the first 4 exercises, and you're releasing tension and improving flexibility with the 5th. That balance is what creates optimal function. If at any point you feel pain during these exercises, not discomfort from the stretch or the muscle working, but sharp pain, stop and consult a healthcare provider. These exercises should challenge you, but they shouldn't hurt. If you have an active pelvic injury, prostatitis, or any acute condition, talk to your doctor before starting this routine. Also, if you're dealing with severe erectile dysfunction where you can't achieve any erection at all, these exercises can still be beneficial, but you should also be working with a urologist to rule out serious vascular issues, significant hormonal deficiencies, or nerve damage that might require medical intervention. This routine is powerful, but it's not a replacement for medical care when there are serious underlying problems. For most men over 50 dealing with age-related decline in firmness and staying power, this routine is exactly what you need. It addresses the core issue, which is weak, uncoordinated pelvic floor muscles that can't trap blood effectively. It retrains your nervous system to activate these muscles properly. It builds endurance so you can sustain that activation during sex. And it releases chronic tension that's been restricting blood flow and preventing optimal function. One more thing I want to mention: track your progress. Get a notebook or use an app on your phone and just jot down a few notes each week. How are your morning erections? How's your firmness during sex? How's your staying power? How's your bladder control? When you can look back after 2 months and see concrete improvements written down, it reinforces the importance of continuing. It keeps you motivated. It shows you that your effort is paying off. And celebrate the small wins. The first time you notice a firmer morning erection, that's a win. The first time you maintain an erection longer than you have in months, that's a win. The first time you feel real conscious control over your pelvic floor muscles, that's a win. These aren't small things. These are markers of your body healing and functioning better. Your body is capable of remarkable adaptation and recovery at any age. The fact that you're experiencing dysfunction now doesn't mean you're broken. It means your body needs targeted support, and that's exactly what this routine provides. You're retraining neural pathways, you're strengthening critical muscles, you're improving circulation, you're releasing chronic tension. All of that adds up to better function, more confidence, and a better quality of life. I want to hear from you. Are you going to commit to doing this routine daily for the next 2 months? Drop a comment and let me know. Tell me what specific challenges you're dealing with. What else do you want me to cover related to men's health, sexual function, prostate health, whatever it is? I read every comment and I create videos based on what you're asking for. I'll do the research and give you the information you need. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button right now. I post videos regularly breaking down men's health topics with this level of detail and practical guidance. And share this video with anyone you know who's struggling with these issues, because most men have no idea that these exercises exist or that they can make this kind of difference. This is about reclaiming your vitality, your confidence, and your sexual function through deliberate, targeted training. No pills, no devices, just your body and consistent effort. 10 minutes a day can genuinely change your life if you commit to it. I'm Dr. Melinda Wright, and I'll see you in the next video.